Good evening, everyone. If I could ask everyone to have their seats, please. And those of you that are in the back rows, I see you in the back. If you could just move forward a few rows, just so it feels a bit more of a full house. And also there's more shade in the front versus the back. Okay, well, welcome everyone. The Honourable Bernie Bush, Minister of Home Affairs, the Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, our Butterfield sponsors, Mr. Sean Lee and Mr. Erwin DeCal, our National Gallery Chairwoman, Mrs. Susan Oldie, OBE, ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished artists, of which I would like to individually welcome you all, so do bear with me, it is delightfully a long list. So we have Jawara Elaine, Shane Dreddy Akar, Megan Arch, Ray Banker, Heidi Bassett Blair, Cameron Bridgman, Leonard Dilbert, Bryony Dixon, Al Ebanks, Davin Ebanks, Kerwin Ebanks, yeah, we have a few Ebankses, Caitlin Elphinstone, Catherine Elphinstone, Carlos Garcia, Teresa Grimes, Jamie Hahn, Jenny Jackson, John Reno Jackson, Ian McRae, Tansy Mackey, David Bridgman, John Broad, Christy Capewell, Randy Chalette, Franz DeBacker, Sarah McDougall, Michael Mothen, Christina Pineda, Brandon Saunders, Simone Scott, Gordon Solomon, Stoked, Mark and Pam Lawrenson, Nasaria Saku Chalette, Scott Swing, Karoli Sooks, Simon Tatum, Debbie Truchin, Marcy Wood. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to the second Cayman Islands Biennial, Reimagining Futures. So I hope your glasses are full, that you're comfortable, because we have a wonderful evening prepared for all of us. And I know that this is the moment that artists have been looking forward to from the moment they responded to the call out for artists. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the Honourable Mr. Bernie Bush to give us a few welcoming remarks.
Senior Chief Officer Teresa Echenique, former Permanent Secretary Mr. Leonard Dilbert, Mrs. Oldie, and the head of the National Arts Gallery and honored guests. Thank you all very much. I'm very honored to have been asked to come here today to help in this celebration. Our ministry has made the choice that we're going to make sure we do a talent identification and development. A lot of people saw that statement and thought it was only sports, but it's also the arts. It's also our culture. We're going to highlight it. We're going to make it relevant like it should be. This is just one such event that helps us reach to these goals. Our ministry will continue to support these events, work hand in hand, and we intend to make sure that the arts finally get the justice that they deserve. Thank you all for having us, and be blessed. Enjoy yourself this evening. The speeches is not what we came here for. Let's get down to the fun. Thank you all very much for inviting me, and we will support and work with you guys hand in hand. God bless. Thank you.
And now I'd like to call forth our chairwoman, Mrs. Oldie, to give us a few remarks.
Thank you for coming this evening. We're delighted you're here. I'm going to keep this really short. I just want to say that this is our second biennial for the Cayman Islands National Gallery Biennial creation. And this year, our works are very notable because our artists responded so wonderfully to our curatorial challenge. And I think they had a lot of material to work with. Between the pandemic and really a year of suffering and an uncertain future, it's very apparent in really notable work that we are just delighted to be able to present this year. Reimagined Futures, I think for me, is a reminder of art's of art's mission, its enduring capacity to offer both stimulation and solace. And we've been moved and uplifted and challenged by the work on display. So I would like to congratulate every single participant, and Natalie and our jury, who had the unenviable task of choosing awardees. Natalie will come up and get on with this in just a moment, but I would like you to join me in thanking the National Gallery staff, our jury team, and our event promoters, and everyone who was involved in this evening, but most importantly, all of our participating artists. We're really delighted to celebrate you and thank you for turning this vision into a reality. Thank you.
And I would like to invite the National Gallery Director, Natalie Urquhart.
Thank you, and thank you, Carrie Ann, and also William Helfrich, who are behind me, two of our curatorial team. The other one, Paige Jordison, I think as many of you know, is still working with us, but remotely from the US. And then Maya Mutu, who is our education manager, has been very, very integral to the curatorial decision-making process as well. But what we didn't have to do was select the awardees this evening. We removed ourselves from that, and we had 5 remarkable people that we greatly admire that have been serving the cultural sector, not only in Cayman, but in Jamaica and the Bahamas, and I'll reference them in just a moment. It's always very important to us when we do the biennial that we open up dialogue even more with our fellow curators, museum directors, and artists around the region to play a part in collaborating on these awards. And it also allows us access to those individuals for future development and exchange and collaboration. Of course, as Mrs. Oldie said, the Cayman Islands Biennial is our premier contemporary art showcase. It happens every 2 years, like the term biennial, or if you're in Venice, Biennale implies. And we started in 2019 with Cross Currents. And I think 2 years on, we've seen a remarkable shift in not only the quality of work that's being produced, but the conceptual depth of the work that we're seeing in this exhibition. Everyone that's come in, from small school children to our senior citizens, have been able to engage with the work in this show. And I think what's amazing about that is a lot of it is very contemporary. It's very digitally inspired. We have installation work, we have photography, all sorts of different types of mediums that we weren't seeing even 5 years ago. And I think all of the artists involved have really pushed the remit out this year, responded to the challenging themes, which included climate action, social justice, identity politics, and of course wellness, and how we have grappled this particular moment in our lives. I'm not going to read from my speech because we're hot and we want to move in, but we're going to get on to the main event, which is to honor, firstly, all of the artists present, as Carrie Ann was so kind to read out, and then, of course, the awardees that have been selected by our jury. Before I do that, though, I do want to point out who the jury are. We have a couple of members tonight. We have M.A. Pashalides, I don't think has arrived yet, but Mr. Henry Mutu, if you'd stand up, please, so that we can recognize you as a judge. He's now in trouble. Everyone knows he was part of this decision. Thank you, Henry, Artistic Director of the Culture Foundation. He needs no introduction. We also have the former director of the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, who's now just opened a private space in the Bahamas, Amanda Coulson, who is a long-term supporter of the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. We have O'Neill Lawrence, who is the senior curator at the National Gallery of Jamaica. Again, a wonderful artist and a long-term collaborative partner of the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. And then, of course, Carl Brown, another long-term supporter of the arts in Cayman. Carl Brown represented the National Gallery Board on the jury. So our 5 jurors, if we could have a round of applause before we read out the awards rather than afterwards. And I do want to take a moment quickly as well to remind everyone that the biennial is a multi-site tri-island project. So if you haven't had a chance yet to go to the Mission House and see Sarah McDougall's amazing Not My Cup of Tea installation, or Reno Jackson's work at the Botanic Park, Heidi Bassett Blair at the airport, or even go so far as Little Cayman, we have Debbie and Bob from Little Cayman representing tonight. Please go and see the other aspects of this incredible project, and it is really transformative, we feel, to get out into the community as well as in this museum space. So a huge thank you to all of those venues for agreeing to host us in the most unusual circumstances, and to all of the artists for responding to these critical themes that really are defining our times and helping us provide affirmative visions and actions for helping solve some of those challenges. So without further ado, I am now going to move on to the award presentation. We don't have a drum roll, but if anyone knows how to do that, that would be fantastic. If I could invite Mrs. Oldie up, and the way this will work this year, we have some extra certificates of commendation as well as our usual awards. You'll remember that there is an award for the Emerging Artist category and a runner-up award. There's a Bendel Hydes Award named after the grandfather of Caymanian art. We were very honoured to be able to name that award in Bendel's honour in 2019, and that will continue. We have a runner-up in that category as well, but we also have 3 certificates of commendation for works in both of those categories as well, because the decision was so difficult this year. If I could start by inviting Mrs. Oldie to come up to the platform here. And when we call your name, if you could come up and accept your award, do pose for a photograph. Leonard is going to take a picture over here. Katie is doing amazing work on video over here. Thank you both volunteering tonight. And then sit down, so we'll continue moving through. Once we have allocated all the awards, we'll have a thank you by William Helfrich from the curatorial team, and we'll head inside to receive all of the printed catalogues, which are hot off the press and we're excited to share with you tonight, which of course includes all of you. I'm going to start with the Emerging Artist Award Certificate of Commendation. This is one of 3, and that goes to Cameron Bridgman for his Interloper series. Do we have Cameron? And if not, we're going to have to ask his father to come up and accept on his behalf. So at first glance, and I'm going to let you know briefly about each of these works, and you'll see them inside, but at first glance, Cameron's curious objects look like they've landed from out of space, these alien forms whose function and purpose are unknown. They also resemble sort of, actually one of them, a COVID nucleus, but they're all made out of scrap metal and car parts, and really looking at how we can upcycle, recycle, and find beauty in the most trying of circumstances. So that's Cameron Bridgman, everybody. Our next certificate of commendation who is here is John Reno Jackson for Untitled, a mixed media installation in the Botanic Park. Jackson's investigations into the formal properties of this chosen medium have led to an extended consideration of painting, both as a physical object and a performative relic of a live event. So these are these incredible paintings that Reno has cut up and re-established as artworks in the Botanic Park. And the very staging of them in the environment is really challenging the way that we view art and taking it out into the community. So congratulations, Reno Jackson. Our third awardee, who I don't think was able to come tonight, he's working and he sends his regrets, is Michael Mothen. Was Michael able to? He did make it fantastic. Great to have you with us, Michael. So a certificate of commendation to Michael Mothen. This is the very first time that Michael has exhibited with us at the National Gallery, so it's so exciting to be able to present this award to him. And Michael's work is called Price Tag. It's a drawing animation on a computer inside, and it looks at the slow-moving evocation of Georgetown and the challenges that we're all facing, particularly as young Caymanians, to step into the property market, something that I know our current government are beginning to address and committed to addressing. So do look very, very closely at Michael's work. It is a moving animation, and it has all sorts of different social and community components that come up in the animation. So it's in the lower gallery. Make sure you see it. Congratulations. And we move on to the formal awards in this category. We'll start with the runner-up in the Emerging Artist category. This artist is overseas, and I believe his family were coming tonight. Simon Tatum, Sailor Trophy 2021. And if we don't have a Simon representative, maybe Henry, would you, as a juror, can I call you up? I know you're no stranger to the stage. Thank you, Henry. Simon Tatum, of course, is no stranger to any of you. He's away doing his master's. He's just completed his master's. And he has created a work that really looks at unpacking and addressing exotic souvenir stereotypes, the idea of this exotic Caribbean tourist product, and unpacking the complexities of life in the Caribbean behind the facade of those sort of homogenized tourism views that we often see. So it's a very complex work and speaks very, very carefully to our environment across the Caribbean and in the Cayman Islands. And now to the winner in the Emerging Artist category. Again, very, very difficult decision by all 5 judges, but we're delighted tonight to honor and recognize Brandon Saunders for Helios in the Night 2020. Brandon, I'd like to say, flew in just for this, but he had no idea that it was happening. Brandon, as you know, is studying at Newcastle University in the UK, and has created a hauntingly beautiful series of mythologically inspired artworks inside. It's a triptych, but he's actually using artificial intelligence to achieve a painterly effect. So these are very, very complicated, digitally manipulated images, and Brandon is here and can tell you much more than I can about it this evening, so make sure you grab him inside. Brandon was also the runner-up for a similar type of approach in our initial biennial in 2019. So congratulations, Brandon, and all of our Emerging Art Award awardees. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oldie. A round of applause for all of those artists. And now we move on to the Bendel Hydes Award series. We again have certificates of commendation and the runner-up prize. What I didn't mention for the Emerging Artist Prize, I'm sorry, is that there is a commitment to funding a residency opportunity for that artist to the amount of $2,000, and also a commitment to a small solo exhibition when the artist is ready to develop that. So we're delighted to be collaborating with Brandon sometime in the future on that, and you'll tell us when. Now for the Bendel Hydes Award, and this is has always been really at the forefront of the biennial as well, is to ensure that we can offer a significant cash prize to the award-winning artists with no expectations beyond the gift. So that really is, we hope, will go into finding more time to develop work, maybe a residency, but it's to give that artist both the recognition and also support going forward. It is hoped that we will be able to fundraise for some of these works outside of these prizes, but that is not involved in the actual cash prize. And that is a $5,000 prize, and also a commitment to a significant solo exhibition within the next 2 years. You'll be remembered that Nasaria Suku was our winner last year, and is working on that exhibition of her own for early next year. So I'll start by inviting the Minister back up. Thank you, Minister. So our first awardee with the Certificate of Commendation is Sarah McDougall for Not My Cup of Tea, which is currently on display at the Mission House. While Sarah's coming up, I'll tell you about this work. What was so rewarding to all of us about this piece, not only the beauty of the actual work, but that she worked with her students at SciFec to empty out the hundreds of tea bags that make up the beautiful patchwork dress. This work really speaks to sustainability and environmental considerations, with the idea that the actual tea bags contain plastic, and once ironed together as a dress, actually melted into each other. So it's raising awareness about consumerism, but also the concerns that we have about plastic in our everyday foodstuff and packaging. Of course, in the Mission House, it takes on another level of conceptual consideration in addressing colonial histories and unpacking those considerations too. It's a very, very strong work. Thank you, Sarah. Our second certificate of commendation goes to Nasaria Suku for Blue Black 2021. Nasaria. This is an incredibly powerful installation of work where Nasaria has used figurine bottles and ink-filled vintage glass bottles that she's found in landfills across the Cayman Islands, thank you, Minister, to address racial identity, specifically in the area of Georgetown. The faces on the stoppers of the bottles amalgamate the features from 4 different Georgetown women, some with cotters on their heads to reference their African ancestry. The artist is interested in unpacking the historical legacy of racial division in our community through this wonderful piece. And please meet Nasaria inside. It is a remarkable piece of work. Thank you, Nasaria. And our third certificate of commendation, and there was no double up here, even though they do share a house, Randy Shillette, The New Path 2021. This is one of 2 works, very strong works that Randy submitted to the biennial. It is the installation that you see when you walk inside. And it's both visually and conceptually complex, comprising a spider web of networking, interlacing patterns. The yarn appears to emanate from the pairs of shoes carefully arranged in a sinuous pile of rocks, conveying a powerful sense of spirituality, and I'm sure you'll agree when you see the net rising out of the path. The artist's subject is ultimately the mysterious. You can walk down because I've got so much more to say, Randy. This is complicated. I'm going to say in the artist's own words, when you understand, this is Randy's words, when you understand that the source is endless, there are so many possibilities for the future. When you honor the past and analyze the reason for the bumps in the road, only then can you begin to plot the new path forward. And I think that speaks to so many of our experiences in the last couple of years. So Randy, thank you so much for that beautiful work. Our runner-up category, and again, I think we have a family member present, but if we don't, let's ask Leonard to come up this time. No, Leonard, you're an artist. Let's ask Jennifer as a board member to come up this time. I'm picking people out of the audience because someone's got to receive these awards. Our runner-up in the Bendel Hydes Award category is a really remarkable piece of work by Jawara Alim called Descent. This is the performance art installation that is at the very back of the gallery, and I do need to acknowledge the group that he worked on to create this piece. The costume was by Yodea Williams and photography by Justin Jensen, both students at Central St. Martin's that are working with Jawara. The piece addresses gender stereotypes within the Caribbean. Again, in the artist's work, our reality is built on storytelling. And through examining the mystical and the spiritual, this performance envisions new ways that we can develop and perform our sense of selves. So please go and spend time with that beautiful work. It's incredibly moving. And now I'm glad we're at the last award because the heavens are about to open. They are speaking. Jennifer, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were up. Here am I reading away. My apologies. Thank you, Minister. Please hold out for 5 more minutes. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Of course, Jawara is based in London right now. He sends his regrets, but he would very much have liked to have been with us this evening, doing some remarkable work in fashion and in art. Just in case it does start to rain, I'm going to announce the award winner. We were going to say a few words about the catalogue, but I'm just going to ask you, once we've had a chance to showcase the award, to go straight into the lower gallery, just in case. I can feel it happening. So, without further ado, our Bendel Hydes Award, which is our commitment to a solo exhibition and cash award this evening, and this again was a difficult deliberation, is Davin Ebanks, ladies and gentlemen. And Davin has 2 pieces in the award. Pastor Alson is here, thank you. Both of Davin's parents are here to represent Davin and his amazing wife, videographer Jamie Hahn as well, both in the US currently. Pastor Alson, welcome to the stage. So Davin's winning work, although the judges really had a difficult time between these 2 pieces, and I did want to point that out, is Ground Basket Pair. And I think this has generated so much popular interest as well. It's definitely one of our standout pieces. Thank you, Minister. Ground Basket Pair 2021, and it's got a subtitle, which I do need to quote. Excerpt conversation by Jean Toomer. Drunk with rum, feasting on a strange cassava, yielding to new words and weak palabra of a white-faced sardonic god. So that is the sub-theme of the Ground Basket title. And of course, if you haven't seen this remarkable piece yet, this is the pair of Caymanian ground baskets inside our Dart Auditorium section of the Biennial, where Davin has literally elevated what has been a functional commodity to us that we are already now recognizing absolutely as fine art, but into a precious commodity. He's done this through an alchemical transformation of material. Of course, these are glass ground baskets that he has created molds for and then blown glass. They're absolutely remarkable. They look so simple, and yet they're incredibly complicated. But I think for the judges and certainly the curatorial team, this work spoke so beautifully to the bridge between our past heritage and our current Caymanian expression. It's honoring that history, it's honoring the use of the basket, but really bringing it into the forefront in an incredibly symbolic and valuable way. Again, as Davin says in closing, as a symbol of our own contemporary era, the Midas touch that has transformed these objects into a work of sculpture might also warn of the erosion of tradition and our need to steward and preserve it going forward. So if we could have a huge round of applause for all of our awardees, and a huge round of applause for all of our participating artists, because this was an incredibly difficult process by the jury this evening. Many of our awardees and artists are here, so please talk to them. Okay, everybody grab your glasses and run inside. Your catalogues are waiting, and everybody is represented in those catalogues tonight, so please grab your copy. There is one for everybody here. Thank you, everybody. Perfect timing.